We're going to take a live look at the White House for you this morning, this finally Friday, where President Trump hosted the Secretary General of NATO, Mark Rutte, this week. NATO's chief praised President Trump for not giving Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine because of the time it would take to train soldiers. The two also agreed that pressure on Russia's economy could be key to bringing an end to the war. That pressure includes new sanctions from the United States and European Union on Russian oil. Joining us now to talk more is the U.S. Ambassador to NATO, Ambassador Matt Whitaker. Thank you so much for joining us on Morning in America.
Good to be with you, Anna.
Let's start with those sanctions. Hungary, which is part of the EU, says it's working to get around those new Russian sanctions. How much does that weaken the impact of those sanctions?
Well, first of all, Hungary, while they buy Russian oil and have had a legacy pipeline that supplies all their oil from Russia, the big purchasers of Russian oil and gas are China, India, and Brazil. And these sanctions, at least in the near term, and the announcements we've heard is that China is going to reduce or eliminate their purchase of Russian oil and gas, and India is as well. So I think in the near term, these sanctions are going to prove very effective because President Trump is very disappointed with President Putin and his refusal to end the war, to even make productive steps towards ending the war. And so this was the next obvious step for President Trump to continue to keep the pressure on the Russians, just to stop the killing, to stop the bloodshed, to end this senseless war. And so we are going to keep working with the Hungarians and some other NATO allies to get them away from Russian oil and gas, and at the same time make sure that they're buying oil and gas from our allies, from countries like the United States.
Well, yeah, Putin's ambitions don't seem to be changing. We had Secretary of State Marco Rubio meeting with his counterpart, Sergei Lavrov, or having a phone call or something, and realizing that Putin's digging his heels in. The meeting was going to be, fruitless there in Budapest. So Trump decided he would call it off. So now we've got the actual teeth coming with these sanctions. But I'm just reading from the AP that they don't take effect until the 21st. I mean, isn't that just giving Putin more time to tap everybody else along?
Well, obviously, these things don't happen immediately. There's all of these laws that are brought to bear have ramp down periods, and because countries that are big oil purchasers from Russia are not able to immediately turn it off, but it puts a timeline, I think, of 21 days. A very short timeline for them to wean themselves off this, and this is a big step, and this is a tremendous sanctions package, and I think we are in a position where we're going to continue to bring this an end to this war because it's senseless, and President Trump knows and feels that it's got to end, and he's going to do what it takes to have it end.
All right, and let's talk about these Tomahawk missiles that was brought up in the meeting as well. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has been asking for these, asking to be given them, then saying we'll pay for them. Trump initially said he would potentially sell them, and then said, no, actually, the United States needs them, and it'll take you too long to train the soldiers how to use them anyway. If we can show, I think we've got a different range of what their current capabilities are in Ukraine versus these Tomahawk missiles. Is that done and dusted? That decision has been made, or is that still up for negotiation?
Well, President Trump understands that these are complex systems, that they take a while to train, and it's pretty clear that in the near term that they're not going, wouldn't be effective or available to the Ukrainians to use because of that ramp-up period. But there are other deep strike capabilities. Ukraine has proven that even with drones, they can reach deep into Russia, and they've used other countries' long-range weapon systems, and I think we should expect that the effectiveness of Ukraine has improved over the last several months and over the last year, and I think they'll continue to develop their own. In fact, if those that are following it very closely know that Ukraine has developed a system called Flamingo, which is a long-range missile system that can reach deep into Russia, and that I think is what is ultimately going to continue to increase the leverage on Russia to come to the table.
Look, war is nasty. It always is. It's really become this meat grinder. But yesterday, I just felt sick to my stomach when I found out about all those kindergartners, 5- and 6-year-olds that were victim there. Just awful. Thank you so much for joining us, Ambassador Matt Whitaker. We'll have you back again if you're willing. Thank you.
For sure. Thanks, Anna. Good to be with you.
20 minutes after the hour. President
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.